All right, the Building and Maintenance Subcommittee will call to order. If the clerk would please call the roll.
Mr. Collins?
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Here.
And Ms. Monroe-Naylor?
Present.
So this meeting is going to be deja vu for the members of the subcommittee because we reviewed this entire issue quite a while ago and agreed to it, but what we can't find in our records are any minutes or anything that we actually took the formal vote. We sent a letter saying that we agreed to transferring the land. For the public, what this is transferring of the land. How many acres do we know? 23 acres behind Duggan School to the control of the park department. And that is so that, as most of you have, if you've driven down the street, you see there's been a lot of construction there. It's a brand new field that's being, actually fields, but there'll be a new football field and track and everything ready to go, hopefully for spring, I believe, is when we should be looking at it. We reviewed all of this, the boundaries and everything once before, but we can't find that we actually took a formal vote. So we need to take that formal vote because the grant requires that it actually be in the possession of the park department. Do you wish to have Mr. Sullivan do a presentation, or do you recall it enough, or do you want Pat to give a brief summary of it?
That would be
Okay. Pat?
Good evening, school committee members, and thank you for putting this on the agenda for tonight. So, as Chris indicated, this has come before you in both 2016 and 18. We worked very hard on grants, and I have to congratulate the school department as they received the first grant through the NFL Foundation for $100,000. That was kind of the kickoff to the project. And then when we learned of the land and water funds available starting back in 2016, I had spoke to Chris and the superintendent Warwick, and they both agreed that this made sense to turn into a park, and they invited me to those subcommittee meetings, and that was agreed at the time. So we ended up with a $750,000 grant from the Land and Water, federal, $350,000 from CDBG funding, $200,000 that was matched by the mayor with a $250,000 from PAYGO, and then we had a CPA grant of $250,000. So we had $1.7 million in grants. And then the mayor had initially pledged $6 million to build the artificial turf field. And then when we started the project, we learned that there was a landfill operated privately in the 30s and 40s, and it was unregistered. So now we've been working with the DEP to get it properly capped, which has all happened. So the mayor put in another $6 to $7 million. So there's been another $14 million into this property. And the good news, it is now safe for all the students to use. It's a beautiful complex for the school. And it also, I want to also say we've had great support from the Conservation Commission, which Chris is the chair of that. And that land, we're trying to open up some of the trails and to the left of the park area as well, which would be great for your science program at Duggan to use. So we're very, very proud of the project, and again, we just appreciate everyone's support and making it happen, and I think the kids at Duggan are going to be the biggest benefactor to all this work.
Well, all of our high schools will be benefactor because we only have one good football field, and now we're not. Could you give a little bit more? It's a football field and track, but there are other amenities too.
Yep.
And I said it's deja vu, but it's not for Josiah. Josiah wasn't on the committee the last time that it came. So if you could just give an overview of the number of fields.
It also includes baseball and softball fields, which can also be used for soccer fields during the off season of baseball season, new basketball courts, play equipment, fitness equipment, so the neighborhood will be able to use the walking track. We're also, because the school would be one of the bigger users, we're working the permits to go through your school department permit process, so our recreation division will work through the school department's permit. So as always, with any of these projects, we always work closely with the school department, so there's a good, easy transfer. So it's going to be a win-win for your athletic programs, your science program, to get better access to the wetland areas, and for the neighborhood to use that track during the weekend hours when it's not used from school department games.
It'll be wonderful to have two actually turf football fields and take the pressure off of Central. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Pat, for the overview. I agree with my colleagues, this is great. Can you identify, Pat, in this drawing, what are the means of egress onto this park?
Yeah, so part of it, your parcel A area, which is an existing parking lot, that's going to get repaired, which has been really a tough area for the school for so many years. So you would be able to come in off of Bradley Road or Wilbraham Road to the parking lot and then gain access to the field.
Okay.
So parcel A is your parking lot that the mayor has included money in the bond to repair that school parking lot, and that will stay a school parking lot.
What's this cut, sorry, Mr. Chair, if I
ahead.
could.
Yep.
What's this cutout here at Ketty Street? As it kind of dips down, looks like, is that in between a residential area?
That's just a sewer easement right away that we have access to. There's nothing formal in there other than we would work with the Conservation Commission to improve the trails for the public. I know they're getting a lot of requests for people that want to be able to walk through conservation areas. And we now started a program with the Sheriff's Department to start cutting dangerous trees and taking the chips. We did Venture Pond recently with Conservation's help. That's a similar project that would be a good example. So we're just showing all the areas that the city already owns, and that's an existing owned city land.
All right, thanks, Pat. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm prepared to make the motion.
Just for in that parcel that you see that says City of Springfield there, inside there is a very unique, something called the leather leaf bog. And it's a great educational, and part of what Pat's doing is going to formalize those trails. And that access is a way of getting in and out of there. So it really is a win to have another track and another field and some additional fields is really a great idea. Ms. Naylor, do you have any questions?
I just have one question. One of the things that we did talk about in the last conversation was the fact that the parking lot did have some issues under the surface, which were causing it to continually have those dips and those potholes. Is the money that's going to be covered to repair the current parking lot going to constitute all of those other issues? Okay.
Yes, yeah. It should be properly remediated and then compacted and then, with final asphalt, and you shouldn't have to revisit it for another 40 to 50 years.
Wonderful.
That was an
If it's done right, yeah.
dump there for a long, long
Yeah.
time. And when the first high school class graduated out of Duggan, when they went 9 through 12, I was a speaker at there, and I gave them a little history lesson that school, that dump area, it included all of it, including where the school is, was called Shea's Dump. And one of the first principals of Duggan was Mr. Shea. Wholly different family, but it was just a little bit of history for them. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So the
Second.
motion's been made to recommend to the full school committee that it approve the transfer.
Second.
And seconded by Mrs. Naylor. If you'd call the roll? Yes.
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 Thank you. Having gone through everything that's on our agenda, then a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
If you'd call the roll, Terry?
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
And Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.